Welcome to My Healing is Your Healing, a podcast for the woman who is ready to stop performing and reclaim her voice. I'm your host, Celeste, and around here, we don't do surface level. We go deep. Each week, we'll explore concepts like self-discovery, radical honesty, and the kind of healing that rewrites your story from the inside out. This is a space for truth-telling, for remembering who you are, and for coming home to yourself, louder, braver, and more radiant than ever. So come as you are, and let's do this together. Let's begin. Welcome back to My Healing is Your Healing. I am your host, Celeste. Today we are talking about her, the radiant woman within you, or as I like to call her, your highest, most embodied version of self. You have most likely seen her, maybe in your reflection, just for a fleeting second, maybe in a woman you passed on the street. The one who wasn't rushing or performing or posturing, just being. She has presence, a stillness, that unmistakable inner glow. Not because she's trying to prove something, but because she's so deeply, authentically herself. She radiates ease and groundedness, a quiet magnetism. She makes you feel at home, not because she's perfect, but because she's present. She is real and she's rooted. And here is the beautiful truth. She is already living inside of you. So this episode today is not about chasing some idealized fantasy or polished Instagram persona. It's about coming home. Home to the most aligned, embodied, fully expressed version of who you are. We're going to explore what it feels like to live from that place and how we lost touch with her in the first place. And most importantly, how we return to her. Not as a performance, not as a curated aesthetic, but as a living, breathing, everyday truth. Because becoming her isn't about changing who you are. It's about unbecoming everything you were taught to be. Everything that was never really yours to begin with. There are 3 versions of the women we live as. And each one has a role. Each one has a season. Each one is sacred in its own way. And so the first one I like to call the performative self. This is the woman shaped by expectation. For me, like you've heard before, she was Chelsea. She's my former people-pleasing perfectionist self. She's polished. She's pleasant. She's perfect on paper. But under the surface, she is exhausted. She reads the room before she reads herself. She shapeshifts, she overanalyzes, and she says yes when she wants to scream no. She smiles when she's breaking, she pours herself into others. She shrinks her voice. She stays small in the name of acceptance and being enough. And that hardest part, sometimes the world loves her for it. She gets the applause, she gets promotions and compliments. But they never really feel like real love because they don't know the real her. So this is what we call unconscious incompetence. You're living as her, but you don't yet realize there is another way. She becomes your default setting, a mask that you've worn for so long that it feels like skin. And then one day something cracks. You feel that ache, and you ask yourself, is this all that there is? Which takes us to the second self, the practicing self. This is where the shift begins, and it's crunchy and awkward, but it's sacred, because it means you've woken up. You might be reading the books or going to therapy, journaling, or maybe even listening to this podcast. You know what alignment looks like, but it doesn't feel natural yet. You try the affirmations, but they feel stiff coming out of your mouth. You say, I love you in the mirror, but your voice hesitates. You don't believe it yet. You can say the right things, but something's still not clicking. You're not pretending anymore, but you haven't fully embodied it yet. It's like walking in shoes that don't quite fit. And this is conscious incompetence. When you know what you want to shift, but it still takes effort, or you don't necessarily have the tools practiced enough yet. And let me tell you, this part matters a lot. This is where I live most days, and I call her Celeste. She is the version of me that's practicing and learning and integrating. And some days I slip back, and some days I rise, but every day I choose. The practicing self is building a bridge back to truth. She's no longer asleep, and she's doing the courageous work of choosing differently, even when it's uncomfortable. And that matters way more than you know. So now we arrive. This is the woman you're becoming. The one you've seen maybe in the mirror, maybe in a dream, or in someone who walks through the world unapologetically whole. She isn't trying. She isn't performing. She just is. She speaks with clarity and compassion. She walks into a room and doesn't shrink. She doesn't hustle to be chosen. She chooses herself first. This is unconscious competence. It's embodiment. It's wholeness. It's ease. She doesn't second guess every word. She doesn't need a script or a filter. She has her own permission slip. And here's what she understands that shifts everything. She doesn't live in the have, do, be model that the world teaches us, where you think, when I have the confidence, then I'll do the thing, and then I'll finally be her or be happy. That's a victim mindset. It says, let me wait until tomorrow. It gives your power away. This radiant woman, she lives by be, do, have. Be the woman you want to be now. Do what that woman would do with integrity and presence. And have the life that aligns with who you already are. She doesn't say, I'll feel confident when I lose the weight or get the job or find that relationship. She says, I choose confidence now. I choose to be her now. And from that place, her actions align. Her boundaries align. Her relationships align. She doesn't wait for the safety. She is the safety. And that radiant woman, I call her Stella. She is my highest self. And every time I root into my truth, or when I stay present and choose integrity over performance, that's when she shows up. She doesn't live here every single day, but the more that we choose her and the more that we speak like her or move like her, love like her, she becomes our home. So you might be asking, Celeste, how did I lose her in the first place? Because we weren't born afraid to be seen. We were born wild and expressive and intuitive. We laughed loud. We cried when we needed to, and we danced without shame. We said what we felt. But then the world taught us otherwise. We were taught to be palatable, to be polite, to be liked. We were told not to be too anything, too loud or too sensitive. Don't be too needy or too smart, too confident, too much. So we began to perform. We polished the edges. We edited our truth. We dimmed our light. We stopped trusting that who we are is enough and started striving to become what we thought others wanted. We abandoned our authenticity for approval. And somewhere along the way, we lost her. We lost that radiant woman. Not because she disappeared, but because we stopped listening inward. And the cost of that is deeper than we realize. It's waking up one day and realizing you don't recognize that woman staring back at you in the mirror. It's laughing at things we don't find funny and saying yes when your soul is screaming no. And performing a life that doesn't feel like it belongs to you. It's disconnection from your truth, from your body, from your joy, from yourself. You begin abandoning the truest parts of you, your messy, wild, radiant self, just to feel safe. But what if safety doesn't come from shrinking? What if the most secure version of you isn't the one who's smallest or quietest or most agreeable, but the one who gets to be fully herself in every room, on every page, in every moment? What if you could trust that the woman you are is the safest place you could ever live? Because the radiant woman, the woman you're becoming, she's not afraid to be alone. She's not waiting for someone to choose her before she can choose herself. She's not afraid of a quiet Friday night at home because her life is already rich and aligned and full because she is full. She fills her life with meaning, with beauty, and with joy. She walks into a room not asking to be liked, but anchored in who she is. And here's the best part, she is already inside of you. This isn't a quest to become something or someone new. It's just a return, a homecoming back to yourself. And coming back to her isn't a checklist. It's not a glow up or a 5-step plan. It's a reunion. And the path, unfortunately, is slower and deeper and more sacred than you might expect. So, what does it look like? Here's what returning to your radiant self actually means. It's saying no without apologizing. Not because you're mean, but because your time and your energy matter. It's speaking your truth and letting it stand. No over-explaining, no justifying, just letting your words land. It's walking into a room and not adjusting your energy to make anyone else comfortable. Your presence is your power. You don't owe anyone smallness. It's laughing loudly and genuinely and unfiltered, without checking the room for permission first. It's crying when you need to and honoring all of your feelings as sacred and not shameful. It's trusting your intuition, tuning into your body and your inner voice, even when logic tries to talk you out of it. It's choosing yourself again and again and again. Not just once, not when it's easy, but as a practice, as a way of life. This is the real work. Not the glamorous work, not the pretty Instagram version. The holy, gritty, liberating work of coming home. And this is something that we're going to continually explore as we go through these podcast episodes because it's something we're going to learn as part of healing and growing together. And if you're wondering where to begin, start with presence. Start with a daily decision to remember her. So if you're looking for a tool, I created a future self visualization practice that I would love to share with you. It's something that you can return to daily or weekly, whether it's 40 days or one moment at a time. You can find it on the resources tab of my website. This guided practice will help you reconnect with the woman you are becoming, the one who's already inside of you, waiting for you to say yes. Because becoming the radiant woman is not about becoming someone else. It's about returning to the woman who you were always meant to be. So let's drop into the part that I know you love, our toolbox segment. Reminder that these are on Instagram, Toolbox Tuesdays. Find the carousel at My Healing, Your Healing. Okay, so we have 3 powerful practices to bring you closer to the radiant woman already living inside of you. These are not about perfection or performance. These are about practice, presence, and devotion. So let's start with mirror work. I want you to talk to her daily. And this is one that I do every single day. It's simple, it's sacred, it's life shifting. You are going to stand in front of the mirror in your most unfiltered, unglamorous, first thing in the morning self. No edits, no filters, no makeup. And you're going to say, "Good morning. I love you. What do you need today?" And it might feel silly at first. Your voice might crack. You might resist it. That is okay. But say it anyways. Say it every day until it starts to land. Say it until she finally believes you. Ask, "What do you need today? What are you feeling? How can I take care of you?" And this is how you start building a relationship with yourself. This is how that trust is built. You listen, you stay, you show up. And the more that you do this, the more your inner self, your radiant self, will begin to emerge. Okay, number 2 is a radiant self anchoring ritual. It's an embodied reminder that you're going to choose. And this is about creating an intentional anchor to bring you back to yourself, especially if you're feeling untethered. So something that reminds you, I am here, I am home, I am her. And so I'm going to give you a few ideas to inspire your own because you want to make sure this is one that sits with you correctly. It could be as simple as placing a hand on your heart before entering a room or a Zoom call. just to feel present. It's pressing your feet into the ground and saying silently, I am rooted. Take 5 deep, conscious breaths before speaking when you feel rushed or when you feel triggered. Light a candle before journaling and whisper, I am returning to me. Find a sacred moment you can do that. Touch a meaningful object that you keep nearby, maybe a stone or a ring or a bracelet when you need to feel grounded as a reminder. Another one could be put on a song that brings you back to life and let it move you, even if it's only for 60 seconds, just a reminder that you're home in your body. The point of all of this is to create a moment of pause. Let your body remember what your mind forgets, that you are already whole. And the last one, number 3, is just an embodiment rehearsal. You're practicing becoming her in real time. This one's big because as you go through your day, you will encounter moments where your old self, the performative you, wants to take the mic. You'll catch yourself people-pleasing or over-explaining, downplaying your magic. And when you feel that tug, pause and ask, what would my radiant self do here? And let that version of you lead. Even if your voice shakes, even if your palms feel sweaty, even if your nervous system wants you to run, choose to stay. Choose to respond like the woman that you are becoming. Because the more that you practice embodying her, the more she becomes your default setting. Not as a concept or not as a dream, but as a lived reality, because you are already her. So before we close, here's the question I want to leave you with. Where am I still pretending? And what would it feel like to finally just be? Not to perform, not to perfect, not to polish, but be. Because you don't have to earn your way back to yourself. You don't have to chase her, but you just have to remember, because she's already in there. The radiant woman inside of you is not a fantasy. She's just the part of you that's been waiting for you to come home. If this episode landed in your heart, share it with a friend who's on her own journey of becoming. Tag me on Instagram @myhealingyourhealing or send me a message. Let me know what spoke to you. And if you haven't yet, check out the Future Self Visualization. It's on my website under the Resources tab. It's just a 10-minute visualization exercise to think about the woman that you want to become, to see her and to feel it. It's a beautiful companion to today's practice. So until next time, keep showing up, keep growing, and remember, you were never meant to dim your light. Thanks for tuning in and being here, for healing out loud, and for walking this path beside me. If this episode cracked something open or helped you remember a part of yourself, pass it on and share it with someone you love. For more support, free resources, or the next steps to your journey, head over to my website, myhealingisyourhealing.com. And if you loved today's conversation, subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your words help this space grow and help more women find their way home to themselves. If I was your muse today, then my healing is your healing. Until next time.